That breaking news, the dangerous remains of Tropical Storm Cindy spinning up powerful tornadoes over central Alabama. Now take a look at this cell phone video from a viewer of the EF2 tornado. You can see that tornado as it formed. The Weather Authority has been working all afternoon to get you the first warnings on these storms. This is one of the tornadoes we captured while on the air. This twister caused a lot of damage in the Fairfield and McCalla area. ABC 3340 is your Weather Authority, and we have full team coverage across Alabama right now.
People are coming outside of their houses looking at it as if it's new. Now, one thing I want to tell people in Fairfield, a lot of folks are trying to get away from that traffic congestion on Aaron Aronoff, and they're cutting down on this street. They're speeding through probably about 35, 45 miles an hour. They can't really see that this street is closed by the tree until they get up on the tree. In fact, we were almost hit by a car just a couple of minutes ago. But let me go ahead and walk on down. Patrick, he's working this floor. Some of this, be very careful right there. All of this over here, up, if you look behind this house, trees are down. You have some umbrellas down. Just look at that tree right there. That is a tree. It's not coming from the ground on this side, so I'm not really sure where it came from. So with my eyes, I can tell that it came from another location. Then let's go farther down this way. We have some kids out here, I guess, with some of the family. Let's see if we can go up and talk. Hey, ma'am, how you doing? This is Vincent with ABC 3340. Can you tell me just basically what happened, how long ago, what you saw?
My husband probably could tell you more. He was alerting us to what had happened, and that you can see the trees and everything. We was in the house and was sitting on the stairway because the lights had gone out. And next thing we know, we saw all the wind and everything, and we came out, and there's all this destruction around here.
And how long ago was that? We just got here.
About
an hour ago. About an hour, sir? Were you outside when all of this happened?
Oh, no.
We were inside, the storm hit, and then an alert hit my phone about the storm. I told everybody to go down to the basement, and it lasted about 2 or 3 minutes, and it was gone. Then as I was going downstairs, I looked out the front door, and I saw where some of the trees were down. Power out went out first, and then right after that, I told everybody to go downstairs, and once it lasted about 2 minutes, it was gone.
Okay, and you know, I'm used to Fairfield, I come here a lot, but I have never seen this street. It looks very cluttered right now. Mm-hmm. What does it look like on a normal day? Normally,
it's just a clear street. Everybody's just transversing up and down the street, no problems. All the neighbors are very friendly, and nothing like this. You know, it's been maybe 20 years since we had a storm like this.
We're with Chief Dyer, and Chief, tell us what exactly happened out here.
Well, the tornado touched down and it hit the ABC store, KFC, and Express Oil Change, and I believe we have extensive damage at Fire Station 2.
We've got pieces of the roof here strewn all over the ground, across the street, fences down, and some of these big trucks here at this location were actually flipped on their side, including this one right here. A tow truck came in and turned it back upright. We've got a lot of lights out in the area. Just across the street, a big tree is down, power lines down everywhere, so everyone be careful if you're out and about. Try to stay home. I've got Bill joining me now with Tire Tech. First of all, you were here when this tornado roared through.
Yes.
What did you hear? What did you see?
Just started seeing debris falling, didn't really hear anything.
How many workers did you have on site, and did you all just quickly run inside?
About 35. No, they just ran whichever way they could.
And we're happy
we're divided up in so many different buildings, so.
Yeah, and we're fortunate to report Birmingham Police, no injuries whatsoever. Talk about the damage to your business and the trucks here.
Well, it turned over this one truck. We got a trailer overturned. We've lost part of our roof, one corner of our building, as you can see. On the other side of the building, we've got windows out, structural damage. Air conditioner gone off the roof, that kind of stuff.
Do y'all prepare for emergencies like this, or was it kind of every man for himself?
It's kind of every man for himself there. It happened so quick. You know, we got the warnings on our phones and all that kind of stuff, and it just happened.
Let me show you what I'm looking at right here. You can see it. This is one of those trees that have toppled. This is straight from the base. The stump is completely out of the ground, and on it you can see right here, I'm being very careful here because these are power lines or telephone lines. These are coming down off the trees. One of the meter boxes is down on the ground, and even down in here you can see some more power lines up this way. We have some power lines down here. Now here's the big thing that got my attention, because again, I was on the other side with Patrick and our intern, and they noticed this, and we walked around and we saw this. This is a telephone pole. It is stretched from one side completely from its base over all the way to the other side. In fact, you can see some damage. Now again, we need to be very careful here. It's completely on the ground. We can see see this house here. It looks like whatever it was, it just kind of hit everything on Pine Tree Lane. And let me get this gentleman here, Arthur Fisher Senior. It's been a while since I've talked to you, sir. Tell me, you've been inside your house. It's just a couple of houses now from here.
Yes, sir.
What was the experience like for you?
Well, I was sitting in my bedroom at the time looking at TV, and I heard the wind coming from the rear of the house. And then I got up and I looked out, the trees were swaying back and forth.
We're just going to watch this together. Again, there's clearly rotation going on with that. This could be a tornado you're looking at right here. This would be north of the junction. That would be coming up toward North Birmingham, Forestdale. Again, everybody needs to be in a safe place. Okay, and before we go to Megan, I'm looking right at what could be a tornado that is down on our Children's of Alabama Skycam. And again, this is a situation where you got to take this seriously. Is this like the big tornadoes of spring? No, that's probably an EF0, EF1 if it's down, but you've got to take it seriously. Small room, lowest floor, near the center, no windows, no mobile homes, no cars. We would advise no driving along Interstate 65 north of the junction in downtown Birmingham, all the way up to Gardendale. We would advise no traveling along Interstate 22 at this point from the junction with I-65 back up to Adamsville. And again, that signature, what you're seeing there, that feature, and again, this could come and go. This could get down for literally 10, 20, 30 seconds and come right back up. These will not be long-lived spring-type tornadoes or fall-type tornadoes we see here. And again, that is part of what's coming through North Birmingham. Let's go to Megan Thomas, is actually out in this. Megan, tell us exactly where you are and what you've got. Your box is there in the upper left.
Right. Right now I'm on I-2059 northbound. I don't know if you took my full screen earlier, but it looks like the storm was just to my left side of the screen, the north and east of me. Is what I think we're talking about, the same storm. Right now you can't really see it, but it's off to my left.
If you can appreciate what we have now with Doppler radar and the live shot capability and everything else, this is a whole new level. And what we can do with this, not only for regular days like today during active days, imagine winter storms. What we can show you when it comes to traffic conditions, very, very excited. So again, our new Skyview drone is live over Shelby County. So let's go live to our Skyview drone that is up over Patton Creek and US 31. This is where we had unbelievably high water, and I say that this is not unprecedented. This is a flood-prone area. We've had problems with rain events like this over the years, and if you've been here a long time, you understand that. But again, many cars were swept away. We had water in some businesses today. We had water in some apartment complexes. The Marines, they're basically inside here in a shopping spree. They're taking all that sponsor money and converting that into toys that are going to be going under Christmas trees for those families that are struggling. And you know, the truth is, we all struggle in some ways, and again, it's a great chance for you and your family to get involved.
See behind me right here, they're dealing with water main breaks. Birmingham Water Works telling us this is one of 3 that they've dealt with alone today.
Welcome to the ABC 3340 newsroom. Brenda LeDunn here. Christopher Sine is our photographer.
But are you okay? You're wearing your jacket and tie.
I was going to say, here's... I get these.
I knew he had something like
that. No, I just get these every day. 3 Booms Fultondale, 414.
This dog looks healthy, but his puppy mill background cost this owner thousands in vet bills. We reveal the red flags you need to know and why an AKC registration is not always a plus. ABC 3340 News investigates tonight at 10.
Concerned citizens called ABC 3340 for help. ABC 3340's Cynthia Gould is fighting for answers tonight near Ohatchee. And Cynthia, this has turned into a complicated mess.
An unspeakable case of horse neglect. Neighbors' pleas for help ignored.
It was a horrid experience.
Fighting for You presses for answers and change. See how the rescued horses are doing now. Road debris, it's not just an eyesore. It can be deadly, especially when drivers swerve to avoid it.
And there was nowhere for me to go once I saw the retread up in the air.
ABC 3340 News investigates, reveals 4 ways to protect yourself and others. Tonight at 10.
I call it the cake house, but I usually do chicken and dumplings.
Deborah Morrison says she expected peace and quiet running her home catering business outside Clanton. Those dreams shattered when she started getting notifications sex offenders were moving in, lots of them.
We figured it out. The preacher never told us.
Triumph Church pastor Ricky Martin was setting up a halfway house of sorts. The cluster of trailers behind his church and home now home to convicted rapists and molesters.
Nobody wants to be here now. I mean, it's too unsettling.
The trailer's just feet from Morrison's backyard where her grandchildren play. She says she believes in second chances and knows they have to live somewhere, but so many, so close. So it sounds like you're stuck.
Yes, we're stuck. We're stuck. It destroyed the community.
She tells us of a scary incident, a man knocking on her granddaughter's window saying he wanted the baby. Police were called.
State of Alabama with
Prosecutor C.J. Robinson alarmed the men were coming from all over Alabama, even other states. The majority of their victims, young children.
Only 2 of those sex offenders out of about 50, I believe, were actually from Chilton County. So it was alarming that we were kind of becoming a sanctuary for sex offenders from all over the place.
Robinson pushed legislation preventing such clustering of sex offenders. Pastor Martin sued, and the ACLU took his case, arguing his religious rights were being violated.
We saw the handwriting on the wall, so the law has in fact been repealed. It's a good example of an overreaching federal government that says, we know better than you do how to run your local community.
Robinson says it was clear the federal judge would rule against them. Late last year, the lawsuit was dropped, and not long after, the sex offenders started moving in again.
What would be going through your mind each night?
How fast can I move?
We tried to talk with Pastor Martin.
Can you talk to us real quick?
He referred us to the ACLU attorney, but repeated calls and emails were not returned.
He needs to cut the camera off.
And since it's been repealed, there's really nothing we can do. I mean, we'll just have to deal with it as it comes. I mean, anybody that moves in, they'll have to abide by the law.
Chilton County Sheriff John Sharon says his deputies make the required checks. The total number of sex offenders in the county now stands at 154.
Population of 44,000. Got 154.
We're going to buy a gun, yeah, and we've discussed the security system.
But even with that, Morrison says she'll never really feel safe again in her own home.
Just as soon as she realizes she can't pay the rent.
Now we turn to the breaking news you saw first on ABC 3340. 3 people with ties to the Birmingham Water Works Board have been indicted by a grand jury. All 3 have turned themselves in to the Jefferson County Jail. We're waiting on the 3rd mugshot to be released. And ABC 3340's political reporter Lauren Walsh, who broke this story and has been following it for months, she joins us now live from the courthouse. Lauren.
And Chris, all 3 of the people you mentioned are now out of the jail. Within the last hour, we saw the 3rd man to turn himself in, Terry Williams, exit the jail. Let's go over who was indicted, because the first person was the chairman of the Birmingham Water Works Board, Sherry Lewis. The second person was the former vice president of Arcadis, the engineering firm that does millions of dollars of work with the Birmingham Water Works Board, Jerry Jones. And the third was a subcontractor for Arcadis. Now you're looking at video of Sherry Lewis, the chairman of the Birmingham Water Works Board, turning herself in. We were the only media outlet here when that happened. Let me read to you the counts against her. There are 3 counts of violating the state laws, and they all have to do with her using her position to financially benefit her or her family. The first count was intentionally using her office to obtain personal gain for herself, her family, and the business in which she's associated. The second count is voting on or participating in matters in which she or a family member had a financial interest of gain. The third count for Lewis is soliciting or receiving anything for the purpose of corruptly influencing official action. We'll now take a look. This was Jerry Jones turning himself in today. Now, Jones, we reported on Monday when he was fired from Arcadis, which is the independent engineering firm that does millions of dollars with the board. To put it in perspective, they did more than $6 million worth of work with the board in 2016. Now, Jones was also charged with 3 counts. First 2 were the same as Lewis for aiding and abetting her in those actions. And the third count for Jones is for offering or providing anything for the purpose of corruptly influencing official action. We got a chance to ask these charges. Listen to that, and then you'll hear from his attorney, David McKnight. Mr. Jones, do you have any response to the charges?
None.
Mr. Jones, did you give anything of value to Sherry Lewis?
Like I said, I haven't seen the indictment, but I know one thing that isn't in the indictment is how hard Jerry worked and how good a work product he has. The quality of water in this city is beyond reproach, and I think he's done a great job, and I know that won't be in the indictment.
So you just heard Jones' attorney defending his client, maintaining his innocence. I need to tell you that we also spoke with Terry Williams, who was the third man to turn himself in today. He was the subcontractor for that engineering firm. His attorney also told us he maintains his client's innocence. To this point, Sherry Lewis has not said a word to us, even though we've tried to ask her. We also have not heard from her attorney yet. I did, within the last couple hours, speak to a couple members of the Birmingham Waterworks Board to try to ask them for the reaction to this, how it might affect the Birmingham Waterworks Board moving forward. At this point, they are staying out of it and staying silent.
So, Lauren, let me ask you this. Are we done, essentially? Could there be any more charges coming from this special grand jury?
That's a good question, because we were wondering that too. The Attorney General's office does confirm, though, that this special grand jury remains impaneled and the investigation is ongoing. So that means that these 3 indictments we got today may not be the last.
Okay, Lauren Walsh reporting live for us. Excellent work today on breaking this significant story in our community. Lauren, thank you.
Literally just moments ago, the 100-plus page report was finally released. Earlier this afternoon, Bentley's lawyers had been in court fighting for a temporary restraining order. The goal had been to try to halt the release of the general counsel's report to the House Impeachment Committee. That would have in turn delayed Monday's impeachment proceedings. ABC 3340's political reporter Lauren Walsh joins us right now. Lauren, I know all day we have been waiting for this report. It's been kind of in and out of courts and 2 different judges' courts this afternoon. But there was new information that came out from the House today.
There was, and the report literally just got it. You can feel it's still warm, just printed, got it minutes ago, so we're still going through it. We will have more details for you coming up. But while the House Impeachment Committee was waiting this afternoon for this report, Speaker of the House, Mac McCutcheon, called for Governor Bentley to resign.
Let's end this embarrassment to our state right now. Let's quit harming the economic development of Alabama.
We interrupt this program for a special report from ABC 3340 News.
This just into the ABC 3340 newsroom. The Associated Press is reporting Governor Robert Bentley will resign this afternoon.
Let's tell you what we know right now. Of course, the impeachment hearings that got underway this morning, those hearings have now been in recess since about 2:30. We also have been told that Governor Bentley has been meeting with his staff. That was set for 2:30, and they are expecting to have a cabinet meeting at 3:30 this afternoon. Now, the governor's attorneys have been meeting with the Attorney General in the Attorney General's office this morning and this afternoon. And now, again, Associated Press reporting that Governor Robert Bentley will resign at some point this afternoon.
And we have live crews in Montgomery to bring you the very latest developments. We will cut in as needed to bring you the very latest information on the expected resignation of Governor Robert Bentley, expected to step down this afternoon.
Hi, Dave. Right now, we are standing in front of the Capitol steps here, where the other day the governor came down and announced that he intended to fight this, that he did not intend to resign. We now are hearing that at 5:05 this afternoon, he will indeed submit the resignation. And then at 6 o'clock, Lieutenant Governor Kay Ivey will be sworn in as Alabama's governor. As you mentioned just a moment ago, we have confirmed that the governor is at the Montgomery County Jail at this point. We understand that the negotiations are such that he has now agreed to a lesser charge, a misdemeanor. Again, remembering that he was charged or had probable cause for 4 different felony counts. So part of the negotiation today was to get that down to a misdemeanor, which would mean no jail time most likely, and instead would mean a fine and restitution. This is supposed to all happen. We have all been waiting here. There's probably 100 members of the media right here now. We have been waiting here since 3:15. Our initial call was that it was going to be at 3:30. That has not yet happened. But a man who has stood by his promise to be with us today, Secretary of State John Murrow, is here. You and I talked just a moment ago. This is a sad day for our state, a first also.
Pam, it's a very sad day for Alabama. Anytime Alabama's introduced to the nation in a negative light, it's always a sad day for our state and for our people.
Are you surprised that the governor, you worked with him carefully, are you surprised that the governor allowed it to go this far?
Well, not only have I worked with the governor in my official and formal capacities as a member of the Alabama legislature and now as Alabama's 53rd Secretary of State, but the governor's a friend of mine. And this is a very difficult time for him and for his family and for all those people who have supported him. You know, to ask whether or not it's surprising that he's chosen this particular route is difficult to say, because none of us really know how we'll respond until we're in a particular situation where certain choices are given to us.
Mr. Secretary, you had a conversation with the governor. You informed him that, in your opinion, he had violated an ethics violation. Are you at liberty to share with us? I know he disagreed with you. Are you at liberty to share with us any other information he gave you at that time?
Well, we were trying to assist the governor, as we do people that call and ask for our assistance at every day, sure, whether it's with a Fair Campaign Practice Act or whether it's with election-related issues, whatever it happens to be. In this instance, the governor had some questions about the way that certain things need to be reported or what should be reported. We introduced to him some information that he did not view the same way that we did, and of course our interpretation was strictly the way that the Code and the Constitution say that the standards should be met. And of course the governor chose to go the route that he felt was the most appropriate at the time.
Well, you mentioned a moment ago that you are friends with not only the governor but with his family. Have you been able to speak with any of his sons or with his ex-wife through any of this?
No, not in a long time. And one of the things that's so difficult about a situation like this is because it's so personal and because there's so many things that are relative strictly to that family, I think there's a level of respect that needs to be adhered to. I think there's an appropriate distance that needs to be shared.
As if we still have the picture up from the Montgomery County Jail, that is where we believe that the governor either is or has just left. And that is, of course, where we have Lauren Walsh, our political reporter, who has been there staking that out this afternoon, because we do know that even though he is now going to plead to a misdemeanor, he still would have to turn himself in and go through the processing of that. Representative Henry joins me right now. First of all, what are you hearing at this point? We are hearing resignation at 5:05.
Correct. Sometime right after 5, the last word I just received was that Governor Bentley is at the Montgomery County Courthouse in front of Judge Poole being booked on misdemeanor charges.
And that was so critically important to the negotiations that the 4 probable causes for felonies were downgraded to a misdemeanor.
That's right. I think that was part of the deal.
As we heard from Ed Henry, the governor was booked on misdemeanor charges this afternoon. This is the governor's mugshot that we have just received. And I imagine he had to be fingerprinted and booked just like anyone else who has a misdemeanor charge against them.
Okay, guys, since we last talked outside the Capitol steps, we have now moved into the old House chamber inside the Capitol. If my photographer, Bill Castle, can pan over here, you will see that the governor's staff has been assembled, his cabinet has been assembled, and they are there. We are informed that obviously the governor is coming in here in just a few moments to make the announcement that all of us have been talking about, and that is that he is indeed resigning as the governor of the state of Alabama. That is where we stand right now. It was a mad dash to get everybody inside here. We climbed up a couple of flights of stairs and we're now ready. They had told us this would begin in 15 minutes. That was probably about 7 minutes ago. So we are now just awaiting the governor, who we anticipate will walk through those doors and will come in, and he has already apparently addressed his cabinet, and he will now address the people of the state of Alabama. And again, we will be here. We will carry it live to you. Stand by. We will bring you that just as soon as the governor enters the room. I just talked with a couple of members of his cabinet here, and they informed me that he talked with them this afternoon about 3:45. We were not privy, obviously, to what he said to them, but we are now just all in here waiting for the governor to come in and make the announcement that so many within his own party had said he needed to do long before now.
And our shot here is just outside the courtroom, and we are going to keep an eye on this scene. We understand the governor is before a judge right now, finalizing all of this.
We were in Governor Bentley just left the courtroom here at the Montgomery County Courthouse. He pled guilty to 2 campaign finance charges. One was failing to file a major campaign contribution. The second was knowingly converting campaign contributions to personal use. For each of those charges, the governor asked him if he was pleading guilty, and he did say he was. He entered the courtroom Obviously not looking happy. When he left it, I noticed he was with his head down. He had his attorney, Bill Athanos, with him. And when we entered the courtroom initially, we did see Matt Hart, who many know as the prosecutor at the Attorney General's office in the Special Prosecutions Unit, who led to the conviction of former Speaker of the House, Mike Hubbard. But when Governor Bentley was pleading guilty to these 2 campaign finance charges, he was given 12 months of supervised probation, but the judge said that that might end early if he meets all the requirements of his plea agreement. He has 100 hours of community service as a licensed physician here in Alabama. He also is supposed to give back $36,000 of his campaign funds within 1 week from today. That was part of the deal that the governor asked him, or that the judge asked him to do. And again, if he meets all of the requirements to the plea agreement early, he could end that 12 months of supervised probation early. But again, breaking news, Governor Robert Bentley was just in the courtroom here at the Montgomery County Courthouse. We did learn that he has officially resigned from the position of Governor of Alabama, and he left the courtroom with the back entrance.
Let's go back. I believe we have the district attorney in Montgomery County.
Today concludes the investigation of matters involving former Governor Robert Bentley. I feel that it was extremely important to resolve it as quickly as possible, and I believe we've accomplished that.
Well, good afternoon. You know, I've lived in this great state of Alabama now for my entire life. I grew up here. I went to college here. I raised a family here. I practiced medicine in Tuscaloosa for 35 years. And in 2010, I received the greatest honor of my life when the people of our great state elected me and chose me and humbly asked me to serve as their governor. I can no longer allow my family, my dear friends, my dedicated staff and cabinet to be subjected to the consequences that my past actions have brought upon them. I have spent the last year in deep and earnest prayer over our state and our people.
You were telling me you hope this sends a message to all public officials saying that nobody is above the law.
Absolutely. If you can prosecute the governor, the highest ranking state official, that means anybody is going to be investigated and prosecuted by an excellent special investigative unit at the Attorney General's office.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, J.I.D.
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
the
Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Alabama,
and the Constitution of the State of Alabama,
so long as I continue
a
citizen
thereof,
and that I will faithfully and honestly discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter, Governor of the State of Alabama, to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Thank you so very much for being here today. Today is both a dark day in Alabama, but yet also it's one of opportunity. I ask for your help and your patience as together we steady the ship of state and improve Alabama's image. These are my first priorities as your governor of the 54th governor of the state of Alabama. When I took office in 2011, and again in 2015, I was prepared for this day, but never desired it and certainly never expected it would come.
News.
Good afternoon, I'm Pam Huff. We are about to go live to New York City for a news conference that is being held by attorney Gloria Allred. Gloria Allred says that she has a woman with her who claims that Alabama U.S. Senate Republican nominee Roy Moore sexually assaulted her when she was a minor here in Alabama.
Mr. Moore reached over and began groping me and putting his hands on my breast. I tried to open my car door to leave, but he reached over and he locked it so I could not get out. I tried fighting him off while yelling at him to stop.
Let's listen to what he has to say.
I want to address what's been brought out on television today by Gloria Allred and a client that she has about things I allegedly did. I want to make it perfectly clear. The people of Alabama know me. They know my character. They know what I've stood for in the political world for over 40 years. And I can tell you without hesitation, this is absolutely false. I never did what she said I did. I don't even know the woman. I don't know anything about her.
I've been married to this man for 32 years. We've been together for 33 altogether. He has never one time lifted a finger to me. He is the most gentle, most kind man that I have ever known in my life. He's godly, he's loving, and everybody in this community knows it. These are our church members, these are our family, these are our friends, these are people that know him just like I do. These things are false, and it's ugly. It's the ugliest politics that I've ever been in my life.
Thank you.
Judge Moore, Beverly Young Nelson says she'll testify under oath. Will you do the same?
Former Judge Roy Moore.
So Judge Roy Moore now walking back into the volunteer fire station here in Gallant. We're in Etowah County in Gallant where Roy Moore lives. You heard him say about the newest accuser today that he says he did not do what she's saying. She said earlier with her attorney she's prepared to testify under oath. I just asked Roy Moore if he's prepared to do the same. He walked away. He did not take any questions after his statement. But you heard him again denying these latest accusations, the fifth accuser now against Roy Moore that came out publicly that we heard today out of her news conference in New York.
We know one of the accusers last night, the fifth accuser to come out to say these allegations against Judge Moore, said that she would be willing to testify under oath about these allegations. Is Roy Moore willing to testify as well?
We'll see how all this plays out. We know for a fact that he does not know her. He did not sign that yearbook that she produced that had his name in it. It's fictitious. So what we need to do is just take a deep breath, let the facts come out. There's a lot of investigation going on now about who these people are, what they've done, why they're doing it. And the people believe in Roy Moore.
Moore's opponent, Democrat Doug Jones, says that he is staying focused on his own campaign. Last night, the Senate candidate spoke with supporters. Jones says he feels Moore will have to answer for his actions on his own accord. But he does believe those accusers
across this country have said that it seems to me that the statements made by the women up in Etowah County have much more credibility than the denials, whether it's by Roy Moore himself or his handlers.
I want to get right to our political expert, and that's going to be Lauren Walsh. Lauren, you are at the news conference. Can you hear me? Are you dialed in yet? Can you explain the paperwork that was handed out as well, please?
I do have it, and they were talking about the handwriting. They say that Nelson had said she did not know Moore, but this is the divorce complaint where it shows it was Beverly Harris was her name then, and it has a divorce complaint, and it's signed by Judge Moore in Etowah County. If Chris McCauley, my photographer, can zoom in on this, I can show you where Judge Moore signed it on the last page. This is what campaign chairman Bill Armistead just passed out, and this is what they're talking about. You can see after Roy Moore's signature, you see this little D
And this was a major point that Attorney Jarecki was trying to make in this news conference, where he said in the yearbook signature, it has Roy Moore, DA, after it. And they're saying that Roy Moore does not remember signing DA after his name. And they're saying this is maybe where that DA came from. So you can see this DA here. It does look quite different than the DA that was posted in the yearbook. At the end of what they called a news conference with faith-based leaders, they had a time for a Q&A with Moore, but they tried to limit questions to anything that didn't include the allegations. Well, the issue on all the reporters' mind, including myself, we wanted to ask about these allegations, so Moore left in silence, didn't answer any questions. A lot of us, we reporters, we tried to follow Moore into the hallway, but he left out the back door. Well, that's when a lot of the supporters who spent about 90 minutes talking in support of Moore began a kind of a heated exchange with reporters, getting mad at reporters for wanting to ask about these allegations, calling us fake news from the swamp, and, you know, really just trying to let us know they were not happy that we wanted to ask about these allegations. We played part of this clip for you at the top of the 4. Now listen again to a full unedited clip of this exchange.
Answer those questions.
Because he's running for the United States Senate. He's running for the United States Senate. We have a right to ask
the reason why we had put this thing together. That's totally dismissive.
Why did he not
and why did you ask the question when we did not permit you to ask those questions?
Because it's the question. I looked at you and said what the judge would say. You refused to stop your abuse. Asked and answered again and again. He could answer that question 1,000 times. And if 1,000 accusations were made, he could answer every one 1,000 times. And you would prove yourself a liar.
Look at his face. We established for you to come in and to record our conference. You failed to abide by the rules.
Look at your face. You come in and you're mocked and you're scorning everybody. You think Alabama is just some place where there are a bunch of hayseeds and nobody cares, sir. Oh, yeah.
Okay,
no,
sir, I'm an Alabama reporter.
So in another clip that I have on my Twitter account right now, I actually asked one of these supporters, I said, look, you're calling us all reporters from the swamp, but I'm actually an Alabama reporter. I live here in Birmingham, and I haven't been able to ask the U.S. Senate candidate questions, and that's a concern.
And then there's someone who's introduced to this that's different, and it elevates the issue. And it certainly creates some problems, presumably, for the transgendered individual.
Well, that's true. I remember when I was going to school in the 1960s, it was a lot different. Of course, I had to go through a certain social construct of showing that I was male, but overall, it was hard for me to not be who I was.
Live in Tampa, Florida right now. Mike?
Pam and Linda, obviously, this is the biggest game of the year, but it's like any other game in this sense. The quarterback position will get all the attention. We all know about Jalen Hurts, the true freshman quarterback, the first true freshman to start at quarterback for a Nick Saban coach team at Alabama.
One of the best national championship games we have ever seen. 3 lead changes in the final 5 minutes before the Prince of Pelham, Dabo Swinney, has the last laugh. The former Crimson Tider has his first national championship. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Here's Mike Rada.
If Alabama couldn't win a championship, at least an Alabama boy did. The water runs deep between Clemson and the Tide.
Kevin Turner's son's on the team. Lemansky Hall's here. So many Alabama-Clemson connections.
Dabo Swinney said maybe the two teams, Alabama and Clemson, could get together again next year for the rubber match. Why not? Keep it in the family, the Alabama family. In Tampa, I'm Mike Rada, ABC 3340 Sports.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Spiegel. Thanks for joining us tonight. The game will kick off at the top of the hour on ABC 3340. The players are behind me warming up. I'm going to get Chris McCulley to pan up to the gigantic halo board up above. And, man, these fans are excited to watch the game, and the players are even more excited to play it.
You know, if we're going to throw the ball in those situations, they took our running game away well. And so, you know, we knew we would have to throw the ball. We got to throw and catch it.
The moment was not too big for the Blazers, but it was clear who the more experienced bowl team was. Ohio sticks with what got it here, rushing for 249 yards and holding the Blazers to under 100. From Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium, Stu McCann, ABC 3340 Sports.
And a few fan bases asking, what did I just see? And no fan base is left with more questions tonight than Georgia after the Bulldogs got run out of Auburn. The prayer at Jordan Hare certainly flashier, but Gus Malzahn has never had a better win as Auburn's head coach than Saturday's 40-17 demolition of the Dogs.
And that legacy for JSU continued into their showdown with Louisville in the NCAA Midwest Regional. JSU in the big dance for the first time, not scared in the least. So the magical run ends for JSU. Joe Whalen joins us live from Indianapolis. And Joe, no doubt who is the star, though, for JSU today?
Yeah, Jeff. Well, America learned two very important things as it pertains to Jacksonville State today. First, it's located in Alabama, not in Florida. Second, and as you just so eloquently displayed, how to pronounce Nobertus Giga. The Gamecocks big man put on a show today. He was the best player on the floor, and that is not up for debate. And in fact, it was one of the most impressive individual performances we've seen so far in this NCAA tournament.
Live from the news team that's working for you, this is ABC 3340 News at 6.
Right now at 6, we're now just hours away from some winter weather mischief moving through Alabama.
By this time tomorrow, more than 1 million Alabamians could see snow, while others might not see any at all. The Weather Authority Chief Meteorologist James Spann watching things closely. James, what's the latest update?
We could see some icy spots on bridges as early as 3 to 6 a.m. That's in just a few hours. Already we have some light sleet and falling in parts of West Alabama, so icy spots in the morning, especially on the western side of the state. The heavier precipitation, the most widespread travel problems likely coming after 4 o'clock tomorrow. This is where we'll probably see the heaviest chance of accumulating snow, east central Alabama, lighter amounts off to the west and south. We should mention areas in South Alabama could see sleet and freezing rain tomorrow night. These are winter weather advisories, northwest and southwest Alabama. A winter storm warning in effect for the counties in pink. Some spots in here could receive 3 inches, but understand not everybody will get that much. Some spots will see no accumulating snow. Potential to 3 inches in spots where you see the counties in pink, including Shelby, Chilton, Talladega, Coosa, Tallapoosa, Clay, Randolph, Chambers, Cleburne, and Calhoun. That includes the city of Anniston. And again, we've had some reports of light sleet on the western side of the state. No problems before midnight. We're currently in the 40s. Colder air north of the state. That pulls in tomorrow, will likely stay below freezing much of the day. And tomorrow night we go in the 20s. And as the precipitation increases, that's when the travel will be most significant, the travel problems. Got a lot to talk about. Much more weather coming up in the main weather segment, so stay with us.
All right, see you in a few minutes, James. Governor Robert Bentley has declared a state of emergency ahead of Friday's winter weather.
That declaration goes into place at 7 o'clock Friday morning. The ABC 3340 team working to prepare you for what Mother Nature has in store for central Alabama.
And we begin tonight's team coverage with ABC 3340's Vinton Blandon live in Shelby County to show us how first responders are preparing for the snow. Vinny?
Friday's forecast has the attention of so many people. Everybody we talk to in Shelby County has either asked, is it going to really snow? Is the storm going to be bad? And if schools would be open? It's likely most people watching this newscast right now won't be at work or school when that snow begins to fall. But for those first responders, they're not so lucky. The beeps on the defibrillator often suggest an emergency. Crews with the regional paramedical services know a snowy day won't stop calls to 911.
Our trucks tend to be on the road a lot more than a lot of the fire departments are.
RPS operations manager Barry Rich oversees most ambulances serving Shelby County.
We just go through all of our backup trucks and make sure everything is good and ready to go. We pull our frontline trucks, our newer trucks off the road and put our crews in backup trucks to keep from tearing up the new ones.
Ambulances might hit the roads more in the snowy storm, but fire trucks do roll.
Whether it's cold or whether it's hot, that can be exertional on the firefighter.
Almost tougher than putting out fires is staying dry.
If they do get wet, we dry them off, keep them warm as best we can, and we just keep an eye on them for hypothermia, which is low body temperature.
Police officers drive smaller vehicles but play a big part in keeping things in order. Columbiana's police chief knows his department will get calls too.
We have a few four-wheel drives that we use if the roads get where they're really bad. We try to maintain as many four-wheel drives as we can.
First responders don't expect to be fazed by tomorrow's snow event. Most are used to working under pressure, but they say if you want to help make it an easy day for them, stay off the road and don't call 911 if it's not an emergency. Reporting live in Columbiana, Vincent Blandon, ABC 3340.
All right, thanks, Vinny. The concern for many people tonight, the road conditions tomorrow. Take a live look at current on-time traffic conditions along Highway 280. Right now we are seeing the typical rush hour delays, but you can be sure that Alabama's busiest highway will not be nearly as packed tomorrow. However, if road conditions do deteriorate, crews are on standby and will be on standby working to make the roadways as safe as possible. ABC 3340's Jennifer Gonsolin continues our team coverage live in Birmingham to show us how crews have prepared in Alabama's largest metro area. Jennifer?
Absolutely, Dave. I am just outside the Jefferson County Bessemer camp, and this is where road preparations have been underway for Jefferson County roads. Now, earlier today, I spoke with officials who say they are more than prepared. They say that they're actually only anticipating not very much for tomorrow. They don't think they'll have to do much just because the storm is only expected to last for about 24 hours. They do anticipate having crews out, though, around the afternoon time, putting sand down on the roadways. Their biggest priority will be those high emergency areas to make sure that traffic flows smoothly for emergency vehicles such as fire and ambulances and police. They will also be paying a lot of attention to the bridges because they tend to ice over, of course, during this time. We have about 300 bridges in Jefferson County that will certainly need attention. Officials are urging motorists, though, to stay off of the roads if you don't have to be out. Reporting live here in Jefferson County, Jennifer Gonsolin, ABC 3340.
East Alabama is in the so-called bullseye of what's to come. Much of the area will go under a winter storm warning at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. ABC 3340's Yasmina Alston continues our team coverage live in Calhoun County. Yasmina, how are leaders there preparing for the potential winter weather?
Well, they're definitely preparing here in Calhoun County. I actually spent some time at the EMA office today where the director says they've been preparing for potential winter weather all week. Jonathan Gaddy, who is the director here in Calhoun County, says what they expect most out of this is travel impacts. That would start Friday morning, go into Friday night, and last until Saturday morning. He says if you do have to travel, drive slowly, safely, and give yourself extra time. And that doesn't just go for small back roads, but also includes traveling on the interstates passing through. He tells me crews will be on standby should a motorist need help while traveling.
The state's definitely making preparations and watching the interstate very closely. Calhoun County, along with the other counties along the interstate, will be working with any motorists that could become stranded to make sure that they're taken care of.
And crews at the EMA will continue to monitor conditions throughout the night so they're able to keep everyone up to date. And Gaddy says this weather event really could go either way. So right now it's just all about being prepared for whatever happens. Live in Oxford, Yasmina Alston, ABC 3340.
In Tuscaloosa County, road engineers started preparing for the potential snow Monday. 75 road workers are on standby to spread sand on snow-covered roadways. The county has hundreds of tons of sand stockpiled for use. Now, 3 large sand trucks and 20 crew trucks are available to spread the mixture on roads and bridges. We're told crews will come in at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning and will work throughout the day and night as needed.
The Weather Authority and ABC 3340 will provide you with the latest information on the ABC 3340 app. Open it anytime for instant access to the latest forecast models and live radar.
And ABC 3340 will be covering the winter weather throughout the weekend. Wake up tomorrow with ABC 3340 Morning News for your current weather conditions, and join us for a special edition of ABC 3340 Morning News beginning at 5 a.m. Saturday. We'll have full team coverage on whatever Mother Nature brings our way. And our winter weather coverage just getting started tonight.
Chief Meteorologist James Spann is in the Weather Center looking at the latest data. He's back with an update in less than 4 minutes. But first, a fallen deputy honored. Hear what made today so special for the family he left behind next on ABC 3340 News at 6. New at 6 tonight, a section of Interstate 59 is now named in honor of Deputy Henry Lloyd Brooks.
He was killed on the job in 1997 by a drunk driver while processing a crime scene near Roebuck Parkway. His wife says this marker is special for her family.
This is phenomenal to honor a deputy sheriff who did so much good for not just the community, but everyone. My children are in shock.
And January 18th will mark 20 years since Brooks was killed. The man who hit him was caught and charged with manslaughter.
Well, let's get back to our weather because we've been talking about snow all week, and this forecast just keeps changing.
And we should point out that that video we keep showing, that is not Alabama right now. No, that's not happening right now. But yeah, it's going to be an active day tomorrow. Let's go to our sky cam. This is the one in Coleman. Now, they're sitting at 39 degrees down below that U.S. Highway 278. Once they go below freezing later tonight, they stay below freezing until sometime Sunday. A wintry mess tomorrow, the latest, all coming up, so stay with us.
We filled it up with sand and put a flower bed there. And it
Didn't last, huh?
No.
A troubling hole of water, where it's coming from. Next on Fighting for You, we test the water and get insight from experts as we work to help the homeowner. A mystery pool of water has one Eagle Creek homeowner stumped.
For a year now, the hole by her front yard has been growing, along with a crack in her driveway. Now ABC 3340's Fighting for You is on the case in Oak Mountain. ABC 3340's Cynthia Gould has a look at some of the potential causes. Cynthia?
Well, Dave, maybe a cracked pipe somewhere, a sinkhole, or groundwater. You name it, they are looking at everything. Melanie Friel called us frustrated and concerned, so we've brought in some experts to get in the mix. The hole by Friel's driveway is about 3 feet deep. She can scoop out 15 to 20 gallons of water a day.
I just get pitchers of water and water all my plants with it. I don't want to waste it.
There's no problem with the meter. Her bills are the same as always. The Shelby County Water Company, plumbers, handymen, landscape irrigation specialists all have theories about what's going on here, but nothing seems to work.
They can't figure it out either. We put boards there so no one will fall in.
Fighting for You began our own testing of the water for about $2. We mixed a sample of the water with a liquid from a local pool supply company. It shows us there is no chlorine in the water, meaning it's not from the municipal system. Compare that to the water from the kitchen sink. Yellow means chlorine treated.
We just don't know what to do.
Our next call, Auburn University's geology expert, Dr. John Hawkins. His best guess? It's a local source which will continue to grow, probably man-made, an old forgotten pipe that is leaking nearby. He has suggested several steps for the Friels to take to narrow the focus. Adding the water system should try turning off water to the entire street and see if the hole fills back up. Now, Fighting for You has also reached out to a water engineering expert who is going to visit the property. All agree this should not be allowed to continue or that hole is going to keep on growing. We are not going to give up just yet. Dave?
Hang in there and fight for everyone. Thank you, Cynthia. Well, continuing our winter weather coverage tonight, shoppers are making a mad dash for the bread and milk before the snow starts to fall. Store managers say that the biggest crowds are still to come. ABC 3340's Stoney Sharp is live in Tuscaloosa. And Stoney, you found one store that has been preparing for this for several days.
Indeed, Dave. Piggly Wiggly in Alberta began planning for the snow this past weekend. Extra shipments of food arrived today just in time.
I say it might snow, but I don't think it's going to stick.
Snow in the forecast creates a flurry of business. Bread and milk, always the big sellers.
Buying bread and milk, getting ready for the snow. I got bread, I got meat, I got canned goods.
No one wants to go hungry on a snow day. Piggly Wiggly in Alberta expects a lot of customer traffic tonight.
You can't go out, you can make a ham sandwich. The road gets pretty bad, I don't get out.
Actually, last Saturday we decided to start ordering milk early.
400 extra gallons of milk were hauled in from Nashville. 280 extra loaves of bread were shipped from Atlanta. Hardware stores also seeing an increase in business.
And people are coming in, getting prepared for it.
The top winter essentials at Anders Hardware in Northport. They sell hundreds of faucet covers.
I call it a $2.19 insurance policy.
Ice melt is also very popular.
It's used in icy conditions on driveways, walkways, and stairs.
And customers haven't forgotten what snow is all about.
There's also a fun side to it, so we have been selling some snow sleds too.
And according to Piggly Wiggly, stores do not make a huge profit off of winter weather. Customers tend to stockpile food before it snows and then don't shop for a long time, which impacts sales. Live in Alberta, Stony Sharp, ABC 3340.
The whole idea is to make sure the kids have a good time in the snow. They don't see much of it around here, and the parents want to make sure that they understand what snow is and how much fun it can be.
Sleds are flying off the shelves at 5 Points Hardware. The owners stock up for the weekends like this one. The ice skating rink at Railroad Park plans to be open all weekend long. A spokesperson tells us if that changes, they'll post notifications on their social media accounts. And love it or not, many Alabamians are expecting a winter wonderland with snow in that forecast.
So, James, when can we expect the flurries to begin falling?
We've actually got some patches of sleet in the state right now, but we don't expect any problems prior to midnight tonight. This is our sky cam up in the Tennessee Valley at Athens. This is where we'll start to see that very cold air coming in. They're down to 35. They'll likely go below freezing, I'd say, by 8 o'clock tonight. And many locations north of Birmingham stay below freezing all day tomorrow. In terms of timing, we might see some icy spots on bridges as early as 3 to 6 a.m. on the western side of the state. Now, the ground is relatively warm, so the initial problem, bridge icing. However, after 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, we'll see heavier precipitation. The temperatures drop in the 20s tomorrow night. That's when travel problems will likely increase statewide. This is the map we often show. And understand, people focus on 3 and they focus on 2. They don't see the other words. Not everybody will see 3 inches in here. Not everybody will see 2 inches here. Some spots could see only a few snowflakes, but there is potential in these zones for up to 3 inches here, up to 2 inches off to the north and west. In that heavier snow zone, there's a winter storm warning here. The other areas, that is a winter weather advisory. The winter storm warning in effect for Shelby, Chilton, Talladega, Coosa, Tallapoosa, Clay, Randolph, Chambers, Cleburne, Calhoun counties. This includes places like Talladega, Anniston, Ashland, and Lake Martin. That's where the chance of heavier snow will be. Now, in terms of temperatures, this is the colder air starting to nose in. We've got mid-30s up in the Tennessee Valley. It's going to be very cold. That is a certainty. Highs tomorrow only in the middle 30s. And again, north of Birmingham, many spots will likely stay below freezing all day long. Look very carefully here. A few sprinkles and patches of sleet in the western part of Birmingham. This is no big deal tonight. Overnight, we'll see a gradual increase in precipitation. Again, by tomorrow morning, we could see a few icy spots on bridges here. The big mass of precipitation will likely come tomorrow night, however. That's when the travel problems will be increasing statewide. A little bit of sprinkles, sleet tonight, mostly cloudy with a low at 27. Tomorrow, periods of snow, cloudy, very cold, the high 35, a north wind at 7 to 14. The snow will be increasing tomorrow night, and it will be ending very early Saturday morning, more than likely before daybreak. The sky becoming partly sunny, the high 36, 39 on Sunday. Check out those morning lows in the mid to upper teens, both Sunday and Monday morning. And for next week, we warm up and a chance of rain returns on Wednesday. You can catch my forecast every day on great radio stations around the state, including 98.7 Today's Kiss. So again, when those maps with those colors, not everybody's going to see 3 inches. Not everybody's going to see 2 inches. Some people will get nothing. That's the accumulation potential. And typically you get about a 50-mile wide strip of heavier snow. We think that will be over central Alabama somewhere, and we'll find out with the radar trends tomorrow morning.
And someone is likely to get that strip.
I do believe we are going to see some 3-inch amounts. I wouldn't be shocked if Mount Cheahaw had 6 inches with this thing up on the big mountain.
Wow, that would be fun to be there.
And to stay. I would love it.
Thank you, James. Well, with the threat of snow in the forecast, numerous school systems, daycares, and businesses have decided to close Friday. Log on to abc3340.com right now for a complete list of closings around central Alabama. We will also have school closings scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
Well, sports is straight ahead. Stay with us.
speaks to me being a man of my word. I said it last year that we're going to be back, and we're back. So it's huge for us. We're super ready for this matchup. We know what Alabama brings to the table and how talented they are, and the successes they've had, but we're ready to go play.
Oh, what a game it'll be Monday night. The countdown to touchdown in Tampa now in its final few hours. Alabama's arrival scheduled for noon Eastern tomorrow. Ben Boulware and the revenge-minded Tigers hit the runway at 4. All the pieces are in place for Clemson's redemption win here. Deshaun Watson, Mike Williams, and the Tigers' offense is operating at peak levels right now, and the defense just pitched a shutout against Ohio State. Then there's the revenge factor. Clemson is hungry for a title. They're hungry to pay back Alabama, but in a twist that can only be pulled off by a Nick Saban coach team, the Tide defense, winners last year, also thinking revenge.
After last year, to be honest with you, it didn't even feel like we won the game because of how bad we played. And, you know, I was real upset. My mom, after the game, I was looking real upset. I had my head down. She was like, you won the game, man. Like, you won the national championship. Like, cheer up. And I was like, nah, we didn't play how we supposed to play. It didn't feel like we won the game. So, you know, I feel like everybody kind of used that game, that one game, kind of in the off season and in the summer and stuff to kind of push them. So it's kind of like we want revenge too in that way.
That's something we're not focused on. You know, that they're going to have, you know, the revenge factor or whatever you want to call it on their side. You know, we know that if we come out, you know, we execute, we play, and you know, we play Alabama football, and we do exactly this, what we do week in and week out. In preparation and in the game, you know, we'll be fine.
That is peak process right there. More Title Talk and a special live edition of The Zone coming up at the top of the hour on My 68 with Mike, Kevin, and Doug. Reuben Foster would like to cut back on tackling in practice. Nick Saban's take on Foster's take. And in basketball, don't hate on Coach K. 7 o'clock, My 68. Be there. Meantime, big one at the Pete Hanna Center tonight. Sanford hosts Furman with an early pole position in the SoCon up for grabs. Bulldogs have been red hot. They've won 8 of 9. 6 players average 8 or more points per game. And as a result, the W's are piling up.
I think in that last 8 or 9 games, we've done a good job of sharing the ball. You know, what we've talked about is we've usually got 5 guys on the floor that are weapons. So you got to use all those weapons, and some nights it's going to be one guy's night, other nights it's going to be another.
We've tried to take the so what, now what approach. Just we win a game, so what? Now we got to get on to the next one, trying to just handle one at a time, come to work every day. But for sure, I think confidence is carrying us this year.
It's working. They're 2-0 in conference.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Hey, check this out. Tuscaloosa, a little wintry mix. We have some sleet, a little light rain, a snowflake or two. No issues before midnight tonight. We'll update everything you need to know tonight at 10.